I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. As long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be.
Hey kid, what time is that?
It's time to refresh.
Back once again with another episode. This is, don't know what number episode it is, but we've got Chris Clark. How are we doing, mate? All right.
Sound.
We've attempted to record this 3 times now, is it? 3?
Like that.
So I've came down 3 times and we've ended up just chatting and end up not recording. So
Yeah, that's down to me though, isn't it?
but it's all right, mate. It's all right. How are we doing?
Sound, yeah.
Sound.
Bit of a block here, like, but
Yeah.
you alright, yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. What did you have for tea last night?
Oh, I knew last night. I never had tea last night.
Uh,
I fell asleep early, so I woke up like 11:30 last night, something like that, and then just went back to sleep. I got butties before I went to bed. So
what's in the butties?
oh, you don't want to know.
Go on.
Oh, corn ham.
Right.
But I don't know what. Loads of
Are you
people
veggie?
No, I'm not a veggie.
No.
I just love the ham. I hate, I'm dead fussy, gonna sound horrible, hear me.
Yeah.
But like, I just hate, like, nuts in meat and all that.
Yeah.
And you see, it does me head in. So if I feel that when I'm eating, it just puts me off.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've just preferred the corn stuff.
Right. I had fajitas last night.
Nice.
I've been dieting, trying to
I don't
lose a bit
cook
of
me,
weight.
I'm bad. I just don't cook.
Yeah.
I'm the worst for it. I need to start learning. I'm fucking 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start learning how to cook, don't I? Not just pizzas.
It's easy though. It's easy.
Yeah.
So with this episode, what we're going to do is, I've found out bits about your story, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and, for the stuff that you've told me in the past, I'm going to try and put it in some sort of order, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so
Where did it all start for you in music? Like, have you got a musical family or out like that?
Not in like sense of someone, like, people playing instruments and that, but into music in a big way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my dad was a mobile DJ,
Yeah.
so he was like, he had records everywhere, decks about, disco lights, massive speakers. You know what I mean? My mum just always played music around the house. They both did. So yeah, we always just grew up listening to loads of music.
I know Neil's a big fan of music
he
as well.
loves music, aren't he? Like,
Yeah, he's dead
all,
passionate when he talks about it and that as well.
we all literally love music. Like, even now to this day, like, my dad's picked up a guitar now. My dad's learning to play guitar. My oldest brother, he did play guitar back in the day when we were younger for a little bit. He was getting lessons off some fella in the street. Like, the fella's died now as well, which is sad, Bernie.
Yeah.
But he was proper cool, Bernie. So yeah, I Phil started playing guitar. I think I might have been around 8 maybe when I Phil. So that fascinated me. I was like, he taught me how to play Wonderwall.
Right.
So I kind of learned little things like that. But I think I was just always drawn to it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd see a keyboard, or, when you're in assembly and you're sitting there, legs crossed, and you just... But you always had, like, musical instruments in the corner from when, like, you had, like, music lessons or whatever. And you just see, like, the triangle there, something stupid like that, and you'd be like, what's that over there? I was always just fascinated by stuff like that.
So where was your sort of introduction to music then?
Like, DJing wise?
Well, no, any music at all, really. Like, where you thought, something, this is a bit of me, this.
Oh, dance music wise?
Well, anything. What was the first love of music? What was it, dance music?
Yeah, I'd say so. Just that constant.
And what was it then?
I don't know. We obviously, growing up, we had tunes like just classics now, aren't they? Like Ride on Time and all them.
Oh, yeah.
Can't even think of them all now, but you know them all.
Yeah, the obvious
and
ones.
all them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all them type of tunes. So, there was something about them what drew me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You'll know yourself when you start realising what you're into.
Yeah, you sort of shapes you sort of taste.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. So, have you always been like Liverpool?
Have I always lived in Liverpool?
Yeah, in the area.
My whole life, yeah.
So it's because it is a big musical city, so that's what
that's mad. It's mad that you say that, because the Beatles, obviously, that's the first thing that people go to, and we never grew up on them.
Yeah,
My dad
yeah.
never listened to the Beatles. It was weird. I only discovered them. Only actually listened to them myself properly, like as an adult.
Yeah.
Maybe mid-20s, and I was like, "Oh, they do some good tunes."
Yeah.
I already knew loads of the tunes. You grow up kind of singing them in assembly and all that in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Like a few of them anyway, like Yellow Submarine and all that.
Yeah, we did that.
So yeah. So, but Beatles was never like
Prominent in your
Ramen.
house. Yeah.
I don't even think they had an album by them, to be honest.
So when you were saying that your dad was like a mobile DJ and stuff like that, what sort of music would you hear of what he played, sort of thing? Where you like
Proper variety. Like my dad would play. He'd do like sets because it was for this like weddings and all that. So it'd be a proper little spots of like it'd be like a little 50s spot, a 60s spot, a 70s spot. Then there'd be like you'd have all modern stuff as well.
and did any of it catch your ear? Like, do you know what I mean? Where you like
that
pulled you in?
only anything that kind of had that constant. I'm trying to think of early tracks that like stand out to me, but I always remember Rhythm as a Dancer.
Rhythm as a
As soon as I heard that riff come in, it was always like, wow, what's this? You know what I mean? But I think I was not even like Ride on Time and like even like Set You Free or whatever. They always stood out to me as like I could hear something happening with the vocals, even as a kid. Do you know when it didn't sound natural?
Yeah.
Something sounded like, how have they done that? I was intrigued. I was like, what? Yeah, I didn't know how they'd done it. But I'd obviously, well, later on that all came when I realised what they were actually doing.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was always drawn to that.
Yeah. So, what was your introduction to sort of dance music then? So, like, where?
Well, I'd start going through my dad's CDs. Like, I'd notice going to like track 3 on the latest CD single or whatever.
Yeah.
So you just go and buy all the chart music, or like, you know, like all the Now albums and all that.
Yeah.
So I'd find myself going through like to the club mixes of that tune.
Yeah.
And just was more interested in what was happening with that.
Yeah.
It was just that as soon as I heard that kick drum, the constant, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would like get me. What's this? Do you know what I mean?
So like sort of like going forward from that then, what was the first music you bought yourself then? So obviously you were saying about you were your dad's. What did you think? Right, well I need to go out and get this.
Well, actually thinking about it, Paradox being on Radio City was probably my first introduction to what I knew. That's what I want.
Right.
It was a scout house basically, but didn't like know that at the time. I just heard an advert one day, I think, on Radio City saying it was like Kev Seed on there saying like join us this Saturday night at Paradox and you can hear it live on Radio City. And I was thinking, and you could hear like music in the background. I'm thinking, what's that? So then,
what year was this roughly?
98 maybe. 90. Right. Might have been a bit later than that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably about 98 though, I'd say. And some of the tunes they were playing were like, it was just another world to me. You could hear the crowd on the like they had mic setups, so you could hear the crowd. So that always fascinated me. What was going on in there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can feel the atmosphere as well.
It just drew me in, the culture from that point. So Paradox was the main, I would say, being on Radio City. That was my realisation of like I'd just tape it every week. Go and listen to it on the bus on the way to school. Do you know what I mean?
So what was it like? What was the culture like within school then? Was it a big thing for dance music?
No, not really. People always used to do that thing in it where yeah. Was everyone? It was either rap, like your Tupacs and all them were big in our school, and then the other side was basically Korn, Limp Bizkit, or Nirvana's and that. Do you know what I mean? So you didn't. I only met one lad, and that was when I was in year 10, I think, just before I left school.
Yeah.
And found out he was in because he'd seen I drew artworks for. I had design tech or something, and I drew or redrew the Anthem 2 artworks. Yeah. And he'd seen that and was like, how do you know that tune? I was like, that's a tune that. And he was like, I've got that on vinyl. I was like, have you? Have you got decks? He was like, yeah. was like, wow, it's mad, how didn't I know that? He was the only lad that I ever met though who had decks in school, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing then.
For those who don't know as well, he's quite the artist that behind the camera is fucking a very, very fascinating wall of logo. I know, but you had to make them.
You can put it up if you want.
I'm gonna take a picture and I'll put it in the group. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, it is very creative.
It reminds me of the record shop days. That's why I love it.
Well, we'll get onto that as well.
Down the corridors, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like label logos and
class, just class like. So you were in, you've left school and stuff like that. Is there any hint of music production yet, or is it, or even I want to be a DJ, or
no? The DJing come well earlier. So DJing was like, what would I have been, about 7?
Yeah.
When I was like, my dad would sometimes have his setup. Have you seen like the PZK style like decks with like all built in one big
yeah
with a mixer along the bottom? So
yeah.
my dad had one of them. And he'd have it in the front room sometimes. Like, if he'd have a gig that night, he'd be testing out all the equipment, going through a few records, learning his trade, mixing and stuff, you know what I mean? So I used to just watch him, fascinated. So in the end, I used to get my brother's hi-fi system and my mum's ghetto blaster, put them next to each other, put CDs in each one, and just mix from the... wouldn't beat match or not, and just do like the mix and what you do in discos where it's just end to end kind of. Once the song's fading or finishing, you play the next one, or it was just doing that.
But you had the bug was there for it. Yeah, I get you.
And then I used to just piss my brother off, obviously, and me mum, because I'd be nicking their stereo. We'd be like, "Have you got my ghetto blaster again?" Yeah. So
class.
My dad ended up making me like this box. It was like it was literally just a wooden box, wooden tray, and it had 2 personal CD players on top, you know, like a Walkman, what you used to carry. I had 2 of them on top with a mixer in the middle, so I could then do my own. Boss. I've still got, I forgot what have I got still out of that, so I've still got a few little bits left from years ago. But anyway, so that was my first like
taste of it. So.
Yeah, my first setup, if you like.
Yeah. So when did you think, right, well, if I'm going to take this seriously, I need to get like a setup? Yeah. I think realising like I couldn't do much once I'd like, because obviously I'd started buying like my own CD singles. Then like I'd noticed in HMV like tunes that I'd like that were on CD single. I was thinking, no way, I know that tune. Like they were mainly ones off Clubbers Guide CDs or whatever, because they'd go for like $2.99 in HMV. So they were cheap as well. And I was only a kid, so I didn't have much money. I had a paper round and that. So yeah, I'd just buy like CD singles with that. And then I remember having this old, this keyboard, what was my older brother's. Remember the ones that you used to press and it'd go, DJ? Yeah. I used to have one of them. And it had a metronome thing on it with your minus and your plus to speed it up, slow it down. So we used to play a track off the CD, match the tempo, and then write the tempo on the CD single. Yeah, clever.
I'd know the closer to the BPM it was, it would stay in time for a little bit, or But then even then, it was like you could only mix so many tunes together. You couldn't mix like the same ones. You just couldn't mix because it'd go out too quick. Within like 6-7 beats, it's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Clever. I never even thought of doing that. You know?
Yeah. But I just didn't know what I needed to do at the time. I'm like, what? How did he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dad's decks didn't have pitch control, so it's not something I'd ever seen before. I didn't know it was a thing. Yeah. And I only think I probably noticed that either looking through DJ mags or in HMV, the way you could, they had like decks set up, didn't they? So you didn't let us on because we had screw uniform on and that, but so they wouldn't let you have a go. But I just looked and thought, like, I think I need something like that. So I mentioned it to my dad, and then my dad said to me, I've got a spare pair of decks in the loft, you know, if you want them, you can use them. And I'm like, he said, the vinyl, like, he said, I think they might have a pitch control on them. And I was thinking, nah, no chance. So like, there'll be an old, I'd seen what my dad was using, I was like, yeah, no chance they're gonna have pitch control on them.
Yeah.
Anyway, gets them down from the loft, opens the lid, boom, pitch control right on the bottom left. Like, it's only about that big. So I was like, what? Couldn't believe it. Ended up buying a few vinyls, and was on them for a couple of months.
Excellent.
So I think they had 10-inch bladders as well, so the vinyl was like slightly overhung,
Yeah.
which was a bit annoying. But to me, it was a proper setup. I was like, lovely.
And you're able to mix and stuff like that as well with them. Like you're not just, as you say, 6 or 7 beats and it's out. You literally you're training yourself.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, no way.
Yeah.
So that's when I went and bought a few records. Then I was just trying to think what they would have been. But
so what year would this have been?
Oh, that's a tough one. That, you know, maybe 99, 2000.
Yeah. So at that moment in time, did you know?
Komodo out?
What was that? 1998, 99, wasn't it?
Was it? So because that was one of my first that I bought.
I think that was 98, wasn't it? I'm not sure. I'll fact check it later, but I'm sure it was like 98. I think.
Yeah. Oh, that might be a bit too early. That I just can't think what year I would have got them. But yeah.
So, had you met anybody within the sort of club scene yet? Did you know anyone or have any connections, or
Nope.
did you know who when you were listening to, say, like the Paradox on Radio City? Did you know who the DJs were, or like?
No, no.
Did you have a favourite DJ, or do you know
Just
what I mean?
them, because they were playing all the good tunes. It wasn't until how old was I when I first discovered like a Lee Butler CD and a
Right.
Little John, and they were playing kind of even better, like Scouse music, so to speak. It was like you'd still hear them ones that were in the Paradox, like Rock to the Rhythms and all them, JK Beat It, Pawn Kings, all that, the classics now, all that stuff. But they played kind of more tougher stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's this? Like, I didn't know half the tunes. Like, when I'd got decks, I was just buying like HMV specials and all that. I didn't know. I didn't go to Freebeat and all that at the time. Like, there was another one, Plastic Records, didn't go there. I wouldn't venture nothing nowhere like that. I was too shy.
Yeah.
So I think I'd walk past there and looked in and been like, oh, that looks boss in there, but that's about it. So I do remember going into Plastics once though at the bottom when it used to be in the Palace, the building, the Palace.
Yeah.
And it was in the basement. And I remember going down once, I think it was after school, because I had my uniform on and that. And I'm pretty adamant to this day that behind the counter was Rob and Red. And Rob was scratching with Do the Bartman a cappella. And I just remember thinking, wow, what's he doing there? That sounds boss. And I remember thinking, my dad's got that record in his collection. So I remember seeing the artworks for it. So I went home myself, I had a little go, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, little did you know it was going to come sort of full circle. Though,
that's what's mad. Like, I'd love to know if it was them, but I'm pretty adamant it would have been, because now I know that they both worked. Well, I know Red definitely worked there. And they were always together. So I know that. And Rob with the scratching, it could have only been him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
And he might even remember it, like scratching with it. I think it was the yo part. Yo.
Yeah, he'll be watching this, so
He might remember.
So
He might have even looked over and thought,
let us know.
This weird kid in here. What's he up to? So I just went in, started looking through the racks, and then just walked out. Didn't say a word, and just that was it.
Yeah.
So
that was your sort of first experience of record shops and that.
sort of, yeah.
So what came next then? What was the next part of the story, so to say? Had you recorded any mixes or out like that?
No, I didn't. I had no way of doing that. I didn't even know, like. I think I did eventually, because I got like a karaoke system years ago when I was a kid for Crimbo, yeah. And it had a drum machine on the top and stuff. But I just remember using that at some point to record mixes. Like, I still got tape somewhere with a few mixes on, but they're terrible though. But yeah, I think a proper what was gonna be my proper set of decks came not long after that, because I was only on them other ones for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then my dad came into me at one point, and it must have been around March, because that's my birthday. And he come up to me and said, how much birthday money have you got left? I was like, 60 quid or whatever it was. He was like, such and such is selling this decks there. There's some lad who we used to hang around with years ago when we were kids, and we'd go canoeing and stuff. And even when we moved away from where we used to live, but we still kept in touch with his dad was more mates with my dad, so they kept in touch. But anyway, I didn't even know he was into DJing at the time, and I just found out he was selling his decks. So my dad was like, I'll put the rest to it to buy them off him. I was like, alright, Sam. So then he came and dropped them off, and it was, do you remember Newmark DJ in a box? It was like
Yes.
you got two speakers,
the belt drive.
Belt drive.
Yeah, I remember
Blue
them.
Dog they were called.
Yeah, I can remember them.
Mixer,
Yeah.
2 decks, 2 speakers, and it was like I'd just got a set of Technics. I couldn't believe it was like it was so much bigger than the ones I was using.
Yeah. You
I was
actually had a
like,
12-inch
wow,
platter on it as well.
the pitch there.
Yeah.
It was just mad. So I was just, that was it. I was flying then. I went and just spent every penny I had all the time on records.
Excellent.
So getting them for Christmas on me want lists. Like making my mum and dad go to Freebeat to buy. Getting a. Do you know what I remember asking for? Do you know Wonderful Life by TJ Davis?
Yeah.
The Mandal mix. That
Right.
was getting played at the time on. I think it might have just moved over to because Paradox stopped on Radio City and then they moved to Ritzy and Brombre. So, but it was kind of the same exact setup as the Paradox.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, they were playing at the time. They were playing a mix of Wonderful Life, the Ian Van Dahl mix, and I didn't know it was an Ian Van Dahl mix. So I put it on my wish list for my mum and dad to go and get me. They got me here and come back with. I don't even know, it was like Quo Vadis or something mix. I don't even know. It was terrible though.
Yeah.
And I just know, thinking about it now, I'm like, whoever was behind that counter knew what one I wanted, but just thought, we can get money out of these here. And just stung me mum and dad, obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway. That's what I reckon.
Definitely. So then, as it's gone on, you've got your actual DJ set up now. You're mixing and stuff like that. Are you starting to go out at this?
Nah, I never ever did none of that. Nah, I was always like, because I'm an anxious person, so I'm like, I still like that to this day. I don't really go out much. You know what I mean? I don't like being in crowded places too much. It's not that I don't like being in it. It's that I can't be present in that moment. I find I lose kind of where I'm at.
Focus sort of thing, yeah.
You could be talking to me, and I'm not listening to a word you're saying. Do you know what I mean?
Do you go to the match out?
Do I what?
Do you go to the match?
The match?
Aye.
I have been. I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed it, but yeah.
But did you find you couldn't concentrate on the?
Well, I got lucky with that because we got asked to go. One of the lads got tickets for a Crimbo prize in work or something. So he got hospitality tickets, had he?
Oh yeah.
To go to the bar and
You're a bit
stuff,
separate from
so
everyone
yeah,
else.
we were a bit, which was kind of helpful for me because I don't reckon I would have went otherwise.
Ah yeah,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
It can be wild in there, do you know
going
what
to
I mean?
toilet and that, and you're just like, whoa, fucking hell, it's chaos here. Do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I just don't like being in
Big crowds. Of
yeah.
folk and
It's
that.
probably being like a big flaw in my personality in that sense. Do you know
I
what
think
mean?
you'd have thrived as a DJ in maybe the 80s or something, where you're in a corner and you're away from everyone else.
Therefore,
Bring them
I don't
times
like the idea of
back.
being centre of attention, like
Yeah.
at all. That's why it took me this long to get me on here. But yeah.
But yeah, so sort of going forward then, what came sort of next? Were you looking for gigs, or what was the?
No, I wasn't interested in like I didn't even know how you did that. I just liked DJing, so it was like I'd have a bit of a bug sometimes. So I'd go to discos with my dad and I'd watch what he was doing, and it was interesting when you'd start seeing the dance floor build up.
Yeah.
Everyone was getting in the mood now. Everyone had a bit of something to eat, and the dad, because most people would sit around for the first few hours, so my dad would just play like background music almost.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to watch how we do that.
Oh, it's an art form in itself, definitely.
100%. And even just talk on the mic and that. So like, I used to go with him, and then that become more regular. So I suppose I got a bit of a bug for it, but I think quite quick I started imagining making them tunes.
So
It was like, wow, imagine being the person who made that track though, what they're playing out.
So in your head, right? I'm just trying to paint a picture, just so I know where you stand with it. In your head, when you heard a tune, were you deconstructing tunes and like in your head trying to figure out how did they come up with this? How did they make this?
Yeah, probably. Like that's what I was saying when I was saying before about listening to like Ride on Time. That vocal thing that happens in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really want to do it, so I feel like I do either.
Yeah, I know.
And
you
then
mean
like Set You Free was another one that had this weird, now they just put the whatever sample it was on one key and then played it.
Yeah.
That's how you get that effect. But I was just, probably just deconstructing things without realising it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think what me first, like...
What steps did you take to get in your, like, your DAW or computer or...
So that's what I'm trying to think now. Because I remember my dad we only had a family, like, computer around for the first time around, like, 90... I'd say 95, but that's probably too early. So I'm going to say more 98. Only going by the Windows versions. So it would have been probably Windows 98 at the time. Internet was only just kind of the whole 56k dial-up, and that had only just really come about, like, where it was accessible to most people now. So we'd have, like, nights where, like, all of us would take it in turns on the computer.
Yeah.
So one night would be mine, one night it'd be Neil's, and my dad come home from work one day with a CD and said to me, Mark's give me this CD, it's got something called Wavelab on it, and it's got, like, MP3 albums as well or something.
Right.
So I'm like, what's that? Do you know what I mean? So I've put it in the computer, installed this Wavelab program, opened an MP3, and you see all the waveform and that, and I'm like, wow, what's going on here? Press and play, and this line's going across, just playing it. I'm just like, wow, and you can cut and paste, and you could do, like, fading and all that. Do you know what I mean? It was just,
right, yeah. So it was your first...
I didn't know how powerful of a program it was at the time.
Yeah, so, like, it's basically you've got this audio editor in your head where it's like you can change things, it's your way of deconstructing, so to say.
Yeah, it was just fascinating, I don't know what it was. I was just like, what is this? What do you do with it? Like, what can you do with it? And I learned how to mix on it in the end. Only, like, because you could crossfade.
Yeah.
You paste two samples over, like, this section that you'd highlight. It was a pain in the arse, like, because you had to have the section had to be exactly the same size or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'd paste it and say, this section's too big or too small. I can't remember which way around it was. So it had to always be a little bit bigger or something. So I learned how to kind of mix in Wavelab, like, just two clips together, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
And then, so my dad, I told my dad about it. My dad was like, do you reckon we could put some mixes together for the discos? Would save me, like, having to do it.
Yeah. Like,
especially when people are all this buffet time, whatever, I just want to put some music on the background. So we started doing stuff like that in Wavelab. So that was probably my very first, like, introduction to anything that was computer-based music. If you know what I mean? Like, if you know what I mean. Like, MP3s, what even was an MP3? Like, it was that was
brand new
alien to us then.
Yeah.
It was like, it was only vinyl or CDs or tapes or mini discs.
So your first experience of any sort of audio engineering was making
a cracked copy of Wavelab.
Yeah, and making compilations for your dad's discos.
Just making mixes almost.
Yeah. Excellent.
So, and then after that would have been DJing.
Right.
That was like the big. That's where the whole some light came on. Everything just went. I was like, wow, this is how you make music.
Right.
Like, I remember being in, I think it was Blockbuster at the time. Remember we used to rent?
Yeah.
So we were either there or we were in Asda, because there was a Blockbuster in the Asda.
Right.
So I'm thinking where he was now, and I just remember looking at PC games, and they were all like weird ones back then. Like, they were all a bit poo, to be honest, but I seen this one and I thought it said DJ at first. It was all like flashy and it had like decks on it or something. I don't know what it had on. Maybe some fella dancing or something, I don't know. But I was fascinated by it. I was like, what's this? Like, so I said to my dad, will you buy me that? He was like, well, I'll buy it for the PC, for the family PC, but everyone can use it though. And I was like, yeah. So I think he knew no one else would probably bother with it. But when I got it home anyway, installed it, and realising like, wow, this is how you make music. This is how you do that. I'm like, there's this little box with all samples in, and you listen to them all, and then you drag them in, and you draw them where you want. Yeah. It was like, wow, this is boss. That was me then. I was on dance EJ and then hip hop EJ, rave EJ, all them for like, I don't know, maybe a year or two. Yeah. Just like messing around. I didn't think nothing. I was just enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Just get you creatively fulfilling, do you know what I mean?
Because I think like, I would have never thought. I mean, I thought people who made music come from like America and that.
Yeah,
Didn't come
I know what you
from-
mean.
Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't- Them people weren't like just normal people. So I always thought it was way far out to even do anything like that. But I just was enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah, I
So-
get you.
Yeah, and then I met a mate, and that was probably the biggest turning point in music.
Well, why was that?
Because he was just on it. He was. I think looking back at it now, I owe him a lot. Like I don't even know him anymore. Like he moved to Ireland a long time ago, and I haven't spoken to him for like 15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. It's a bit sad, really, but I wouldn't mind speaking to him again because I feel like I owe him a lot, and I don't think he realizes how much I owe him.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
get you. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, he introduced me to like, because what happened was he was with a girl next door
Yeah.
for a bit, and we just got knocking around with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then they separated, but he just kept coming around to ours anyway.
Aye.
So then we just got to know him as a mate. Then I found out he was in a band. Only a little like, I think, how old would I've been about 16 then. I was just coming up to leaving school. I think he was in his last year of school maybe, or was he in sixth form? I can't remember. He was a year older than me, you see. So he told me he was in a band. Said they had a recording studio down in Egberth Road,
Right.
which it was basically just like a room underneath a church that they just put a set of drums in and that, and a few guitars, and they had like a big mixer there, big mixing desk. It was decent.
Yeah.
Like all automatic faders and that.
Was it the first sort of thing you'd seen where it's like it's not just America? It's like you could do something in
I
this.
suppose, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I was just glad to have met someone who thingied my interest.
Yeah.
Like fed it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I went down there a few times with him. Didn't do nothing, just literally he just showed me about, and I was like, this is interesting, this. And then he told me about the way you can make music on computers using MIDI and stuff.
Right.
I was like, what's MIDI? So then he'd show me. I went down to his once, and he had this proper massive piano. It was sort of electric, but not, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I think you could plug it in, if I remember rightly, but it had a proper bass on it and all that.
Right.
But I only learned like later on, he was like more or less top grade in the piano you can be.
All right.
And he'd been doing it since he was like 4 or 5 or something.
Wow.
So, and he was boss. He was the one who introduced me to what chords were and what,
Right.
scales and all that.
Yeah.
He introduced me to all that. But yeah, he showed me that you can literally play a tune on the keyboard and it'll go through to your computer,
Right.
and you can change the sounds and stuff.
Excellent.
I was like, wow, it's mad this. So he'd got a copy of Reason and a copy of Acid and installed them both on his computer, and then we sat there making a tune. I've still got it. It was only a remix of Lucky Star.
Right.
Remember that vocal, Lucky Star?
Yeah.
So we just done a remix with that in Reason. And I didn't really like Reason. It was a bit kind of overcomplicated.
Yeah.
It's too much stuff going on. So when I got home, I'd got a copy of Reason off him and a copy of Acid. I'd installed both onto my computer at home.
Yeah.
And then once I'd opened Reason, I was like, yeah, not for me this. I can't. This is too much. So I just X'd that, opened Acid, and quickly realised it was basically just Dan CJ, but a more professional version.
Yeah.
Same as exact setup. It was a box on the bottom with, if you had all your samples ready, they were going to be in that box
Yeah.
in the Explorer basically, and then you could just drag and drop. So I was just dragging and dropping samples, like learning it. It
Excellent.
was like that was me then. Completely bug.
So how long was it before it clicked with you? So obviously, everyone's got that moment where they're like, you know what? I think I've got a tune here.
Pretty much straight away. Yeah, I think
So
so.
what was the first tune you done?
Don't you know? I think.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
What
Dizzy
was it?
tune.
Was it?
Yeah, don't you know? I think it might have been like something like Devil, because everyone's had a go at Devil because you get all the parts in the pedal, don't you?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the 666 thing.
Yeah.
So I'd had a go at doing that. I think. I'd had a go at just like, because I'd messed with Dan CJ, and I'd understood that it was just part of music all put together to make a more a piece of music, so to speak. So yeah, I think I just knew kind of in my head what I could already do. If I had the samples, like I said, my mate there, he was getting like Uber Shell sample packs and that,
Right.
like the odd. These were like new to us. We'd never ever heard the sample packs, and we go through and you'd hear like loops that like were in like the launch.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
think,
yeah.
wow, no way, there's the launch loop. And so once I had all them and stuff, it was like, yeah, it was just dragging and dropping them into.
Where were you getting your samples from at the time?
Well, my mate got me them. Like he was using, like my mate was a proper computer buff, you know, like he was proper into it. I'm sure he's probably somewhere now doing some heavy job somewhere high up. I don't know, but that's how I imagine him to be anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was proper into his computer, so he was into like torrent and all that. I didn't even know what torrents were.
Yeah.
So he was like torrenting like certain sample packs that were like big at the time. Like
Excellent.
Uber Shell was one of the biggest ones, I think.
Yeah.
So I think just going through them and stuff. Didn't really have Simps on at the time, so we didn't really know much about like VSTs and all that. It wasn't VSTs weren't really. Well, they were a thing, but we didn't know they were.
So, right, this is as it stands right now. How can I word this? When you were finishing a tune,
Yeah.
when you said so, the first one you finished was "Don't You Know," you said,
Yeah.
right, what were you doing with it?
So when I done Don't You Know, I think I'm saying that's one of the first because it's got to have been. That might be on here. Yeah, because I'm just remembering back to what was the first, and all I can remember is that piano, because I remember liking that piano out of Sons of the Loop era,
Yeah.
and thinking in my own head, if I can sample that part that's got no beats on,
Yeah.
put it in acid and put my own kick over the top and my own bass and my own
Right.
loop, I'll be able to do my own version.
Yeah.
So that's when I think that would have been like Don't You Know, because I think Good Life, to be honest, was one of the first.
Yeah.
That might have been like the second or third Good Life.
Right. So how are you getting them heard? What are you doing with them? And
He wasn't at the time. Like I showed that to our Neil. Neil had seen me on acid,
Yeah.
wondering what's he doing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'd actually show him the results of what I've been doing and be like, decent that, you know what I mean? And then Good Life came about because I was on a record shop one day online looking like HTFR or something.
I used to buy off there years ago, yeah.
So you know there's audio samples on there sometimes.
40-second samples, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so I'm going through one day and I see this 4-track EP and I just press play. Second tune, first tune plays, second tune, and then the third one, Good Life. And I was like, wow, no way, that's that one they used to play in the Paradox. I'm like, what's that called?
Yeah.
So I'm like, can I just buy this now? I'm like, oh wait, you can. So I ran down to my dad, said to him, can you buy me this record? So we did. He bought me it. It weren't even like the legit Good Life, it was just some 4-track like tunes or something it was called. And it had like, funnily enough actually, it had Mr. Friday Night on the other side.
Right.
And I didn't even know that tune at the time. I was just, Good Life was the one that I was, do you know what I mean?
Focused on.
Yeah, so that came through the post a couple of days later.
I'll cut this bit out, don't worry.
Yeah.
How you doing, mate?
How'd you? Nice to see you.
Good Christmas.
Oh, nice, yeah. Busy but boss. That's my new slogan for Christmas. Busy but boss.
We've been joined by Neil as well. So you've been mentioned a couple of times in the episode so far.
Yeah,
Few. So we're just talking now about doing Good Life.
I was about to go into Good Life, wasn't I?
Yeah,
Because that,
Good Life.
up there, that came through the post. Put it on, went to have a mix with it. Noticed first things, because I was mixing probably like BCD tune at the time into it or something, and I just noticed it just didn't have the bang, the same.
Yeah, the same.
Because Good Life's quite ploddy, isn't it? The original one, it just kind of, the bass is jittery and that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought, wonder if you could take the part of that, what doesn't have beats, same principle, and then put my own beats over the top. So I just done that, started messing with it, and then you come home, didn't you, one time? He was like, have you heard this? Or been doing this here? And he was like, wow, that's Sam, that lad. You need to get that to that Rob. So like, but he'd already been talking to like Rob for probably a couple of months before that, would you say?
At least, yeah.
6 months maybe? Or would you say a year?
No, but it might be a year, to be fair.
Because you weren't really into DJing that much, was you? And then
just before we left school, wasn't it? Because you probably got that first set of new Mark decks.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about at one point before.
Blue Dogs.
And you still wasn't really into DJing at that time. I just remember coming home from school one day. He had me decks on, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing on my decks?" You know what I mean?
It's a beat match.
It's a beat match. So
Nailed it.
like you got into it, and then you just got a
from that
bug.
point, really,
so then
yeah.
you were going to the likes of plastics.
Well, I worked
and,
in
like,
town, didn't I? I worked in Birking.
Oh yeah, you
as a
were
kid.
yeah. Oh,
So
that's true.
every year was up the road for me. I worked in Birking, which is the bottom corner of Bold Street.
Yeah.
And they were all on Bold Street, so it was perfect really for me.
Yeah, nice and easy. Yeah. So
You met Rob first and all that, didn't you?
Yeah,
he was the
Rob,
one who was speaking
Ian.
to Rob and all that. I didn't.
Well, I used to
Yeah.
just go in, our kid makes tunes.
Yeah.
And Ian snapped at
Harassed
me one
them,
day.
didn't you?
You're never going to bring these fucking tunes in, or what? You're just going to keep telling us that your brother makes tunes. I said, no, I will, because he wasn't massively confident, and trying to get him to come along to town with me,
yeah,
it wasn't the easiest feat. Got it done in the end, obviously.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
That was fucking
And it-
horrible doing that.
it was, to be honest with you, it was that day. It turned into more than what I anticipated. To be honest, I expected
Defo.
just to go into town, give the CD to Rob, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
It just so happened that we'd bumped into Ian, and I knew Lee Butler was to look at, but not to speak to. So
Yeah.
with Mike the Scarlet, we'd just give the tune to Rob, and then we were walking
That
down
was
to
horrible,
Burger King
that, doing that.
to go and get something to eat, because I used to get discount there, so it made sense for everyone that was with us. Let's go to Burger King.
Yeah.
We're walking down Bold Street, still had a couple of CDs in my hand, and I seen Lee Butler and Mike the Scarlet walking up the street with a girl. I would assume it was one of the birds at the time.
Yeah, you just threw yourself in
Yeah,
front of them.
basically just stopped them in the tracks. Oh yeah, my name's Neil. There's some tunes. I'll just give it to Rob. Rob said he's going to play it, because I thought that I'd give it a little bit of credibility if I'd said I've given it to Rob Kane. And
yeah.
Same day.
yeah, it was
Was it,
exactly
yeah?
the same day. Yeah, could we just give it to Rob? I'm not too sure whether we actually crossed over and went to 3 and gave it to Ian after that point. But I remember Rob.
I remember going into Rob,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was nerve-wracking for me. I did not want to go in. Like, I remember standing at the back of the shop,
Yeah,
in the corner, like cowering like that. And I remember him putting the CD in. It was like,
Well, it was underneath,
It was under the
yeah.
counter one.
Were you scared of him
saying,
going
"Look,
that shite?
that
Yeah,
girl,
yeah.
lad," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I think if he had the confidence in you though to go, listen, that needs to be heard by
Well, it's
somebody
like-
else.
it's
still
that's what
goes
you
to
do,
this
yeah,
day now,
still
though, don't
goes
it?
to
You
this
still
day.
got that confidence in me, and I don't have that confidence in me.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
So what happened then when you played it to him? What was his reaction like?
Asked me where I got the Pella from first. I remember him turning the mix down. He was like,
it was the way he peeked over the desk.
yeah,
Yeah,
he came over the desk. He was like, "Where'd you get the Pella?" I was like, I couldn't even answer him. I was just looking at him, and he was like, just pull it from the tune." I was like, yeah. Sound, put it back up. I don't know whether he skipped it on a bit, but I feel like he would have. And then I just seen his head just bobbing, and then he just pulled the thing, mixer back down, and just put it back up again. I'll play that.
Nice,
What?
nice.
I'll play that. I was like, sound. Leave it, you know what I mean? And he was like, any more? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, get them into me. I was like, sound. And that was it then. I
Yeah.
think from that point, it was kind of like, everything just seemed lucky, didn't it, to a degree?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
kind of, it was like snowballed from, I don't know like how much, I'm still obviously adamant to this day that Rob and Ian and that had massive say in people getting orders for remixes and that. I don't think they would have happened without Rob. And without
Steve
Ian and
Coffey
that.
was the first one, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that would have been through
That
Rob, I
was
think.
100% through Rob. 100%.
so then-
So you've just from my understanding, what happened after the day that you just went and gave them these tunes? Did
Well,
someone call you?
He did say to you, didn't he? Like, I think I remember you coming home to me one time because it took me a while to venture back into town. And you just come on one day and said, "Lad, Rob said that tune's going off, you know."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" He said he's been playing it, it's going off. And I was like, "Oh yeah."
Was that nice to know that your tunes getting like a good reaction in clubs and that, even though like you're not there?
Yeah.
Knowing that
but
it's
I
been
don't
played
really
and
know
stuff.
if I thought about it. I don't really know if I realised it.
I
Yeah.
didn't realise how much of a good reaction our tunes were getting until
Like, you went to Pleasures a few
Carlos.
times, didn't you?
He
And
probably
watched like
might not have,
Love
or
Struck
might
and
have
that
heard of
getting played,
DJ
and-
Carlos
Yeah.
from the Pleasure Rooms at the time, and we were like childhood friends, if you like.
Yeah.
I knew him through childhood associates, if you like.
It was one of them
And he
people who
invited
come
me
back
along.
into your life after
Yeah.
like, you don't see him
Basically,
for a long time.
for
and
a
then
long
he-
time, for our teenage years, and then obviously he came back through because he was DJing in the Pleasure Rooms. The music that he was making fitted what Carlos wanted to play, and then it was like, "Wow, you're Dizzy DJs." When he see me in town, I was like, "Yeah," and with our Chris, and he was like, "I didn't know that. I'll come down to yours now and grab some tunes.
Yeah,
That's
he
all
did,
right."
didn't he? Yeah.
And he did. He took me back home from town. And that was it. And then that night he said to me, do you want to come with me to the pleasure rooms? Now, we weren't big going out people, were
no,
we?
We literally
yeah,
touched on that before,
we used to go out and party,
yeah.
and you weren't really the biggest social butterfly, were you?
No.
So from that point, Carlos took me to the pleasure rooms and dropped the donk shake thing, and that was like
donk shake,
yeah, donk shake he played, and that was the thing for me that made me realise the confidence that I already had in the tunes.
Yeah,
it backed it up even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hearing it loud, seeing the reactions.
More than, and literally everyone bottled along.
What year was this then, roughly?
What year?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, that started in 2003, didn't it?
2003,
yeah,
was that the...
2002, 2003,
yeah.
Because Good Life was always in my head 2003.
Yeah.
So I'm...
Don't you know before Good Life, production-wise?
Yeah, that's what I was talking before, just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of all came together, because, don't you know, and I feel like Don't You Know was the first one, other than that Lucky Star thing doing that with Steve.
Yeah, with Steve. In Madonna thing.
Yeah. Other than that, it was definitely... I feel like it was just using that piano out of Sons of the Loop.
Yeah, I remember the Don't You Know thing.
I don't remember anything.
Don't You Know definitely come before.
I remember being stuck with certain things like Donk Shake. I was making Donk Shake and...
Well, Rob put it on that. Rob said somebody needs to do something with the Khalees vocal.
No, I think... I can't remember whether it was that way or whether it was one of them tunes that I got stuck on. Because I do like ideas sometimes. You know what it's like. You lay down an idea, you only get so far, and then you're like... I don't know what to do now. Or you just kind of lose interest. And I'm sure you'd mentioned to Kane that I'd done Milkshake or was doing Milkshake, and then Kane had said, tell him to put the tape riff with it. Was it the tape?
The tape.
Something like that. The whole was it Mick? Was it? Oh no, wait there. I'm trying to think. No, because I always get mixed up because Mick done the both, didn't he? So the Scala used the horn.
Yeah.
The Tutti, was it not Tutti Frutti? Well, I'm getting all confused now with tunes.
Yeah.
But the Scott Box tune anyway.
Yeah.
What's, you know what I mean? So that was what we put with Milkshake because Robert suggested.
Right.
So then, if you like that, I suppose that's the early kind of Total Control tune, innit? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'd done like so much, and then Robert being like, put that riff in it.
Well, didn't he lend you the record to rip the riff?
I think so. I think he'd lent me a few because I think he let me Hilux feel it. Because that's the only reason why I'd done that. Is because he'd passed me that on record to rip.
So were you just cutting parts out of these tracks to recreate it?
Just basically finding the parts with no kicks and no bass in that, and going right, I can use that bit. Right, I can use that bit.
Excellent, I like that.
That was just sampling, innit?
That is pure as form,
and that's kind of like that was what making music was for me.
So what came next then? After this sort of era of they would get tunes getting played, say like pleasure rooms and.
Well, it was only getting played by Rob, Ian were probably the main two, and Lee was probably playing a few bits out to be fair. But Rob was practically
always used to get
exclusive.
pissed off when people will ask me for tunes, and I'd be like, can't give you that one. I'd be like, wow, why? Can be like, because Rob's gonna have exclusive on it, and they're all like, no, it's not. Oh, lads, just give us the tune. But I always felt like there was a thing to be exclusive to Rob because
It was a
he was our
loyalty,
first
wasn't
support. Like so you just feel like you had to kind of.
So how did the ball get rolling with like the Total Control thing? Like you obviously knew you were a producer.
Really?
Much later on, I'd say, yeah.
How was it?
Because I think that was probably like 2006. Would you say maybe?
So what happened between that time and
Just doing Dizzy stuff, wasn't it? Like done like remixes. That was the main thing.
Well,
Doing remixes.
straight after from Donk Shake and Don't You Know and all that would have come the first remix for Sneak Coffee, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, we done remixes for a bit, and then I'd had other tunes that like they weren't completed or they just hadn't been shown to anyone yet. So like say Your Love Struck,
yeah,
all them, because there was like a few like almost like just beating bassline driven tunes in between, wasn't it? That was like
the Christina Aguilera thing
stuff. That was like
the Little Rascal stuff as well. Yeah.
I remember hearing your love for the first time. I can remember my head falling off when I heard it. I was just like, wow, this is.
Well, see, that's where Your Love. That's. So what happened with that was because we'd got talking to Pez for remixes, hadn't we? Pez Tell It rang our ear one day when we were on the bus
On the way home from town.
saying
I thought it was a prank.
Pez from Radio City or whatever. I don't know how he
Pez Tell It, he said, didn't he? Hi, it's Pez. I was like, Pez who?
What's Pez doing ringing us? You know what I mean? So we was asking for how much we charge for a remix, and we were like, well, I don't even know what what's your charge? What is the going like? Didn't even think that you got like people charged for remixes.
We didn't know how it all worked.
So it was like £100 or something, 200
Yeah,
quid,
at the time,
50,
probably
I don't know what
£100.
it was, but so done a remix for him. But then he was in Plastics one day, or Bowl Seat was it?
That's where I'd say the remix to him, wasn't it? So
Bowl
I'll meet
Seat,
him in time with the
maybe in Bowl
mix.
Seat Records.
Used to spend all the time in the
you
VR bar, didn't
mentioned
he? Was it
about getting the parts, because we found out at some point that one of the people who was working with Pez in the Northern All Stars or whatever,
Yeah.
Northern Heights and that, he was part of Dancing Divas, and we were like, wow, no way.
Right.
They were like the ones who'd done Good Life, like.
The remix of Good Life, yeah.
So you asked Pez, because he was cheeky, he didn't mind asking anything, so he was like, Pez, can you get the parts for Good Life for us?
Off Eno, Nobby, I said, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do, but only if you put it on our label, proper good.
Right.
And he was like, alright, sounds, yeah, deal. And he was like, we'll do like a little three single thing or something, so you can do 3 singles with us, lots of
Releases, yeah.
So Good Life, say, was the first one. He was about that getting revocaled and all that, because we couldn't just put it out. So, and then we'd already had Your Love and Love's to Hall them were already made, they were already done. It's just that either very few had heard them or no one had heard them.
Yeah.
And it was like, we kind of knew where to go next. It was like, so do we give them like Don't You Know or Your Love, or we had a few. And then, so we started Your Love, didn't we?
Your
that
Love.
was literally the next one.
Yeah.
We thought, right, yeah, we'll do Your Love. Rob kept going on about it being massive. He was like,
Humongous,
the birds love it. He was saying it like, you don't understand. So we were like, we'll just give them that then. So they were literally just about to start getting that recorded, the vocal for that. And then Pez rang you one day, didn't he, but left that answer.
No, he rang me. I was in
I thought
3
it
beat.
was an answer phone thing that you heard it on.
Was it?
I thought you'd had a missed call.
I had a missed call, he was in 3 beat, and I went to walk outside to answer and missed the call. When I tried to ring him back, it went straight to answer machine, obviously because he was leaving me a message. When I hung up, there was then you've got a voicemail, so I was like, right, voicemail, it'll be off Pez. And it literally sounded like he was presenting on the radio, and he literally said to me, I don't know whether you know this or you've heard this, but this is the KB Project Rats new track, and it's called Your Love. And the penny still hadn't dropped for a split second. It really hadn't dropped, and I heard it. Obviously, it had been resung, sounded terrible, but it still took me a minute or two to actually realise what was going on. And then, obviously, the penny did drop, and I thought, why have they done that? Who are they? Why have they done it? Why didn't they just get in contact with us? And then I walked straight back into Freebeat and said to the lad who worked behind the counter at the time, Paulos, KB Project, I've just done Your Love there. And he's like, oh yeah, no. Now, it's a good job, to be honest with you, that I'm not really a in-your-face person, because I probably would have pulled him off the counter and punched his fucking head in, because I think for somebody like him, or within our local scene, knowing that somebody from Wigan was basically trying to rip us off because they couldn't come up with their own ideas, then I just expected more from people like that, you know what I mean? It was a massive what the fuck.
I was baffled. I was only, what was I, 17 or something? He was like, not long introduced into all the music scene, and
looking back
and
now,
then
though, I don't know,
realised
I fucking run and jump with it and just say to Pez, so what?
yeah, no, looking back, we should have,
Yeah,
really. We should have said to Pez, it doesn't
That's
matter.
shit compared to our one
We'll release it
anyway.
anyway because it'll still sell.
And our vocal
but
will
we
be
didn't.
better, well, hopefully.
But yeah, it was like,
How many times we
I was just,
went
what
down
the fuck?
studio?
I just didn't know that's what happened. I was just like, wow, is that? Can people just do that? Is that normal? Is that sound?
So what did you do with the tracks then original? Like, how did it go out?
It didn't.
Your Love didn't go out in the end. It didn't get released.
Oh, did it?
No, we didn't bother with it.
And that, looking back now, I wish we would have just released it.
Yeah, we should have.
We should have just released it.
Yeah,
There's no
didn't
reason
never
for. I think Pez kind of led the way with the fact that we just won't bother releasing that now, and I think we kind of just went with them because Pez was Pez and we were just
New
minions
kids,
at
we didn't
times. You know what I mean? We were just the new kids on the block, and we were happy to go with what the big fella was saying, so to speak.
Yeah, makes sense.